Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Moletrap here, coming at you with another StarCraft commentary. This is the finals. There's GYYYYYYYYPE. There's GoodFriend. We're gonna have the grand finals of the 2005 ever OSL here coming up in just a moment. And I hope you guys are excited. I am. This is gonna be an awesome series. I do want to make, I guess, a quick apology right off the bat, though, that I'm not gonna be doing a whole production this time. The last 2 or 3 Star Leagues, I did a whole big production and added all the perks and the pregame show and what have you. Unfortunately, in this case, I just do not have the time to do all of that. So I'm just going to cast the finals just like normal games, do 1 video per game. And this is going to be a best of 5, so there could be as many as 5 games. And hopefully, you know, the next time we do a Star League, we'll have I'll have enough time to go ahead and put all that production value into it. So do not fear, I'm not done with the cool intros and map analysis and all that kind of stuff. I'm just gonna have to skip it for this time because otherwise I would just have to wait too long to get these games out, and it's already been a couple weeks since I casted the semifinals and 3rd place match, and I've been filling in the time with replay commentaries and other stuff. But I just want to make sure that I got the finals out to you guys before it got too far distant from the other games in the Star League. And so with that in mind, I wanted to cast these games, but it's going to be exciting either way, though. And I do want to at least talk a little bit about these players' backgrounds before we get into the first game here, or as we get into the first game. That's GoodFriend on your screen right now. This is the first time GoodFriend has ever been to a finals, and he's been, you know, I've been talking about him a lot recently because he's been in the last couple Star Leagues that I've been casting. You know, he's been playing extremely well, and he hasn't quite made it super far until now, right? He got out in the semifinals in the previous one. I believe he got out in the quarterfinals in the previous one. So he's kind of been edging his way forward farther and farther into the end of the, farther towards the end, towards the finals in each stage. And now he's finally gotten there. And it's been a tough road for him too. You know, he's been playing, there's been a lot of TVZ in this whole entire Star League, right? But he is coming off of a win versus GoRush. And he, you know, he struggled against the top level Zergs in previous series. In fact, GYYYYYYYPE is the one who beat him in the semifinals in the previous Star League to get to the finals to face off against Nada, right? So, GoodFriend couldn't quite make it through those top Zergs to get to the finals before, but this time actually beating GoRush in the semifinals to actually get to the finals is a really, really big deal, because if there's anyone that's a Zerg player that's on the same level as GYYYYYYPE right now, it is GoRush. So beating GoRush is like him showing, like, look, I can actually, you know, beat GYYYYYYPE. And it was interesting because in that semifinal of GYYYYYYPE versus GoodFriend, it was a 3-2 decision, but it was like 2 of the games that GoodFriend won, I would say 1.5 of them were just GYYYYYYPE's error, more than him outplaying GYYYYYYPE, right? So it didn't look like they were on the same level. It looked like GYYYYYYPE just made some mistakes, right? And that was something where it was kind of like, okay, well, you know, you kind of want to discount GoodFriend because he's really good, but he's just not quite at that same level. And I gotta say, playing versus GoRush, though, it wasn't the case. He outplayed GoRush. He beat him fair and square, straight up, just was a better player in that series. And changed his style up a little bit in order to accomplish that too. Instead of doing the same build every game, he changed it up. He did some variation, he adapted, and he was a very, very smart and very strong player in that series versus GoRush. So excited to see how he does here, because the other thing is, though, GoRush and GYYYYYYPE are different players. I mean, that's obvious, but they have a different style, right? GoRush is the management magician, right? He's a tactical player. He's a management style player, and GYYYYYYPE on the other hand is, you know, the Sauron Zerg basically. He's this aggressive player who just somehow manages to make 1 billion units off of a low economy and just goes and just uses his Zergling claws to scratch up your face, right? He is just super aggressive, super strong player, in that sense. So can GoodFriend stand up to a different style and beat the other top Zerg? If GoodFriend can actually win this series, then it will be him making a huge statement that not only is he one of the strongest Terran players, but he beat both of the top Zergs, and will show that it was not just a fluke, that he has grown, and that he is the Terran to be reckoned with. And I think after a little bit of a poor performance by Uv in the last couple of Star Leagues, and Nada not doing super well in this Star League as well, GoodFriend has a chance here to really lay a claim, you know, to the title of the best Terran in this era. And, you know, lay a claim being operative phrase, because, you know, like in medieval Europe, someone might lay a claim to the throne, but then they'd actually have to go to war to really secure that throne. And so it would not be a closed decision that, okay, now GoodFriend is the best Terran, but he would then be in that standing that you could consider him maybe the best Terran over Uv and Nada, given the circumstances. So anyway, really important series here for GoodFriend. His first time ever in a finals, his chance to get a title. Now, GYYYYYYYYPE, of course, has been in finals before. He's beaten the top Terrans in finals before. So GYYYYYYYPE has a little bit less to prove here in that sense, in terms of approaching this game and looking at where he's going to be able to take it. And by the way, just, you know, I'm trying to, this is game one, so I'm trying to give a big broad outline, so I'm not paying as much attention to the specific game, especially since we are seeing GoodFriend do his standard 2 barracks play. And interestingly, GYYYYYYYPE hasn't really been able to scout this, so we're going to see if he's going to make this push and if GYYYYYYYPE's going to be able to deal with it. GYYYYYYYPE is going for your standard 2 base play, low econ, GYYYYYYYPE game style. However, his hatchery, his second base, is in a hidden spot up in the top left, possibly because that scouting SCV was in kind of an interesting spot, and he's actually putting down sunken colonies in his main to defend that ramp. So this is kind of a little bit of a gamble. He's kind of saying, like, does GoodFriend want to go for this really incredibly difficult to break main base where there's a narrow ramp and 2 sunks at the top of it? Or is he going to spread himself thin and go for my expansion to the top left and leave himself completely vulnerable for a counterattack? So that's the question we're looking at here. What is GoodFriend going to be doing in this instance? And it looks like he is actually going up towards the top left. Now, GYYYYYYPE is going to have some defenses up there, and his Spire is actually building up there as well. So look at this. Is that a 3rd sunken colony? Yeah, he's making a 3rd colony. GYYYYYPE's main is now basically unbreakable. And this is the interesting thing, though, is by taking that top left base, that is another main which also has a narrow ramp, which he can also defend by having these sunkens on top and putting Zerglings in the way, so that there's a bottleneck, and any Marines that are trying to run up there or anything like that are going to have an incredibly difficult time of actually making up the ramp and attacking the sunken colonies, if he can play it correctly, if he can get some Zerglings on the ramp. He doesn't currently have any Zerglings over there. Is there going to be an opportunity where we could see a pseudo-Nada-esque run by, where he could actually just run by those sunkens or get all of his units up the ramp and just overpower them quickly in this moment? The Mutalisks are on the way. He's got about 10 seconds where he might be able to make a move, and it looks like he has committed to not making that move. He's decided this is not the best time for it. He's moved his Marines out, and now he's just going to fall back. And whoa, is he gonna, what is he doing? No, it's a little bit too late. He's trying to go up the ramp right now, but the Mutalisks are gonna pop very soon. But there are no Zerglings there either, so he might actually be able to take out, this might actually be the best timing ever, because the Mutalisks are still a few seconds away from popping. He's attacking the sunken colonies, but the drones have been pulled, and he is gonna be engaged with by a couple of Mutas, but he's targeting down the Mutas with the Marines. The Firebat soaking up so much damage in the front, does a huge effort, but it looks like he is gonna get cleaned up here. And it looks like GoodFriend just barely missed his opportunity, just by a couple seconds, and it was so close. And actually, it was not even a bad timing, because there was only 2 Mutalisks popping out at that location. He was actually able to kill one of them, but there was no Zerglings. But the drone pull there was too strong, and GYYYYYYPE honestly caught a little bit off guard with that opportunity for GoodFriend to break up the ramp. and was thrown for a little bit of a loop there and had a little bit of trouble defending, but in the end doesn't even lose all the sunken colonies, loses a couple zerglings, a couple drones, and one mutalisk in defending that attack, whereas GoodFriend loses his entire squad, putting that pressure on. Not sure if it was the best trade for GoodFriend. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was a bad trade for GoodFriend, to be honest. You know, just totaling up the things that I just mentioned. Killing one mutalisk is actually substantial. You know, that's 100 minerals, 100 gas, and it cuts down on the time. It increases the time it'll take for GYYYYYYYYPE to get to like a full squad that he can really do significant damage with. But anyway, GoodFriend losing a lot of stuff there though, but he has been macroing the background. It looks like he's trying to switch up into a little bit of a tech, but not trying to expand yet. He's still playing the 1-base game versus the 2-base Zerg. And that's exactly, you know, that's a space where GYYYYYYYPE is comfortable though. So not expecting GYYYYYYYPE to be really too thrown off by this situation. Again, he didn't lose very many drones. If the Firebat had turned on the drones in that attack up the sunken against the sunken colonies and roasted 7 or 8 drones, this could be a completely different ball game, and I would put GoodFriend in the driver's seat. I'm mixing metaphors here a little bit. I guess you don't drive a ball game, but you get the idea. But in any case, what were those the team? I don't know which team that was actually. I think those were GYYYYYYPE's teammates wearing those weird hats, like to make it look they have a weird haircut. Anyway, that was really bizarre. But in any case, yeah, so just to recap again, going back to what I was trying to say at the beginning, the game kind of got out of control there very quickly, or not out of control, but got active very quickly. But, you know, just to kind of go back and recap and reiterate, GYYYYYYPE has beaten the best Terrans. It has been a minute since he's gotten a championship. And so this is also in a situation where he does have to prove himself. He doesn't have to prove what he's capable of. He has to prove that he can execute. He has to prove that he can still win those crucial finals games, because you know what? He couldn't do it in the previous one, right? He couldn't actually get that gold medal in the previous one. He hasn't been able to get to the finals in a little while as well. But here he is, you know, about a year after his last victory against Star League victory, and he's trying to get another one under his belt. But he was way more at home in this hot seat though than GoodFriend. He's been to the finals more. He's been to really high level competitive games a lot more. So he may be feeling a little bit more comfortable. And look at this, GYYYYYYPE is taking the 3rd spawn in the top right of the map as well. This is kind of crazy. Now, GoodFriend is onto this. He smells blood in the water, and he's aiming his force up in that direction. GYYYYYYPE only has the mutalisks to delay, but he's using them to delay to get a couple sunkens on the top of that ramp. Again, another little bit of a timing here where GoodFriend has an opportunity to get up that ramp before the sunkens are in place and before there's anything to stop him up and create a bottleneck. Ooh, it sounded like 2 or 3 mutalisks dying there as GYYYYYPE dives in with those mutas on those marines to just take a pot shot, but not a lot accomplished there. But again, I think that is the short-term loss of the battle for GYYYYYYPE in order to gain the advantage for the long-term war in winning the entire game, because that delay stopped GoodFriend from feeling comfortable trying to run up that ramp and actually do the damage. And oh, he actually has a radiate out already. Okay pull by GYYYYYYPE. I mean, again, this is pre-mutalisk clumping, so it's a little bit easier to pull out those mutalisks that are irradiated to make sure you're not damaging your other mutas with the splash damage. But the irradiates are now out, so the mutalisks even less of a threat than they were before. Oh, they're just gonna run off of the top. Oh no, this is disastrous. GYYYYYYPE loses 3 or 4, maybe even 5 mutalisks for nothing and takes a ton of damage. He's even gonna stand still and lose the others. What is he doing? GYYYYYPE, in a huge blunder, loses all of his mutalisks. He's been gone to Hive Tech. He's getting a greater Spire in order to use those mutas for Guardians to close out the game with the 3-base economy, and he loses all of his mutalisks. And this is exactly the kind of mistake that he made against GoodFriend in the games that he lost in that semifinal in the previous Star League. And here he is possibly about to throw away this game where he was in charge. He had everything going for him. He had a good economy. He has 3 bases. He has a secure position. He has the Mulus, and he throws it all away with one mistake, or actually kind of a short series of several mistakes in a way, losing so many Mulus. Now he is under siege, and he's getting his sunken colonies shelled in the top left base, where the Greater Spire is, by the way. So if GoodFriend can break this location, he will not just be killing the base, but he'll be killing the tech, and that will be it. That will be all of it for GYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYYY all of those Mutas that he spent so much money on. Oh, he catches the Guardians morphing! He has to unmorph and he's gonna lose a couple Mutas regardless. Oh my god, everything is falling apart for GYYYYYYYYPE. He defended the top left natural. It was a brilliant move to take the defensible expansion in another main. It was a brilliant move to take the defensible expansion to the top right and guard it with the Mutalisk. His timing has been perfect, but GYYYYYYYPE is now crumbling underneath this pressure. Everything is falling apart, and it looks like GoodFriend is in a solid position to take game number 1. GoodFriend, however, has not gotten up his expansion until just now. You can see the SV is transferring over to his second base just now, so he's a little bit behind in that sense. But we've also seen GoodFriend perform extremely well off 1 base and 2 base. He macros extremely well and keeps his unit count extremely high for having such a low economy. Similar to GYYYYYYPE in a way, I guess. And look at this, he's even got a Wraith out. The Guardians are gonna come over here and attack these Mutas. I'm sorry, the Mech Marines. He's gonna come in with the Science Vessel though, and GYYYYYYPE. What is he doing? What is he doing? GYYYYYYPE is falling apart. Those Mutas were his only chance to kill this Wraith, except for those Scourge, which are just gonna kill the Wraith actually. Never mind. So it wasn't his only chance, but it was the only thing he had at that moment. But still, GYYYYYYPE has now lost like 15 Mutalisks. Imagine if he had 15 extra Mutalisks right now harassing the main of GoodFriend, keeping these Science Vessels at bay while they come in and irradiate his Guardians, who have had to cower behind the Sunken Colony line at this top left base because there's nothing to defend them. This is just absolute insanity. Now, GYYYYYYPE, at the very least, though, he's kept that top left base. It's just such a difficult spot to actually kill that without the tanks. And oh no, GoodFriend now making a little bit of a mistake, putting his tank within range of the Sunken Colony, takes it out very quickly. That is a blunder as well. Actually losing a Wraith, also a blunder there. He could have protected if he just kept that Wraith moving a little bit farther over to those Marines. So GoodFriend now making some mistakes, a little bit of tit for tat in the mistake-making arena. GoodFriend losing a couple advantages here. I mean, that's the thing, is like by taking out the Mutas, it gave him the leeway to shell those bases, take them out with the tanks, and guard the tanks with Medic Marines, because, and a couple Wraiths, right? What do you do about that if you're GYYYYYYPE? If you've got no units, and you're getting shelled, you can't go in and take out 36 Marines with medics. You know, and Wraiths and what have you, and to protect it, to get at the tanks that are shelling your defenses, right? But if you don't have those units, you can't do anything about it. And now, GoodFriend is losing those advantages though, and he's letting GYYYYYYPE get back in here. GYYYYYYPE has taken an extra base in the top as well. Although GoodFriend is also taking an extra base. Now GoodFriend is putting the screws to the main. GoodFriend's just gonna, lose a Science Vessel for free. The second one is gonna be defended though. It was in a better position there. And he's going to keep shelling these Sunken Colonies. There's so many Sunken Colonies that it's not going to be a big deal, though. And look at this. He's actually got several Wraiths. He must be building off of 2 starports now. But he's going to come in here and start killing off the drones. And what could GYYYYYYPE do about this? Again, much different story if he has 15 extra Mutalisks right now, isn't it? Or even, you know, Devourers or something along those lines. You know, often we see Zerg players in this era will get, when they get the Guardians, they'll get like a Devourer and a few Mutas or something like that to kind of defend against the Wraiths. But there are so many Wraiths, he's just going to be able to go out. And this is really smart move, honestly, by GoodFriend. He's like, all right, well, if you're going to defend like crazy with these Sunken Colonies on the high ground, it's extremely difficult to defend. Well, guess what? I've forced you into this ground army because I killed all your air units, so I now have control of the air. I'm going to use my Wraiths to just kill all of your drones. And now sending Medic Marines into those extra expansions as well. It looks like GoodFriend has breached He's breached the ramp up into GYYYYYYYYPE main. He's got Marines kind of running around. It's still a dangerous position, but that ramp is no longer secure. And look at this, the Wraiths are now cloaked as well. He's got Marines killing the top middle base. GYYYYYYYPE is now completely falling apart in economy. Before he fell apart in his army and lost a lot of important tech units, but now his economy is falling apart. Now the Wraiths have killed, you know, that he had it going for him that even though he'd lost a bunch of stuff, he could secure. What? Both units flying by each other on move. That's why you A move. Ah! The Wraiths or the Scourge could have easily killed the other. Instead, they just bypassed each other. Ultralisks now trying to go down a ramp. This ramp is now going to GYYYYYYPE's disadvantage with the Ultralisks there. Unless he has Dark Swarm. If he can get a Dark Swarm on the ramp, that's beautiful, but I don't think he has a Defiler Mound right now. He's just trying to use this tech, the Hive tech, the minimal Hive tech, because he can't afford it, because he's been stuck on 3 bases, and now he's losing his bases as well. You know, if he kept the 3 bases, if he kept his economy, that'd be one thing, but now his economy is suffering. He's lost the drones in the top left. He's lost the top middle expansions. The Wraiths are now going for the top right expansion as well. They're going to be able to kill off that economy as well. The main is being shelled as well. GoodFriend just has complete control of this game, and I'm not sure why he hasn't taken those Wraiths to the top right to kill it. Look at this desperate attempt. Just a pile of blood, a puddle of blood on the top of the ramp. It's going to start rolling down the ramp. It's going to get on the feet of those Marines eventually, because it is just too much stuff. The Ultras are very strong here, and he's actually going to come and take out this tank, but the bottleneck there with the Marines on the ramp is just too strong, and GoodFriend is going to take out everything. It looks like he might actually lose this. Look at this, he's actually building a barracks! Building a barracks next to GYYYYYYPE's main base! That is not a good sign for our Zerg hero here, ladies and gentlemen. I think, and it's not BM though, I think it's just that he was building it so he could float it and get vision for the tanks. And so it was a good place to put it. But now the Wraiths are taking out the hatchery in the top right. Ladies and gentlemen, GoodFriend is going to win game number 1 of this series. And actually, let me take that back. GYYYYYYPE is going to lose game number 1 of this series, I think is the correct way of thinking about it. GoodFriend has played extremely well, but GYYYYYYPE handed it to him on a silver platter. And if you hand it to your opponent on a silver platter in the finals, you end up with a silver platter as your reward at the end, because you're not going to get the gold if you throw away the games. And that's exactly what has happened here. GYYYYYYPE was trying to get some mining going in the top middle here. It's not going to happen. GYYYYYYPE has nothing left. The hatchery even goes down. GYYYYYYPE has nothing. GYYYYYYPE has nothing right now. And GoodFriend is going to take the first game in this series. Without a doubt. So, I don't even know what to say here. You know, I was talking at the beginning about how GYYYYYYPE has the advantage of so much more experience in the hot seat, under pressure in high caliber games. But in this case, he's choked. He choked a little bit here and just didn't keep track of his Mutalisk, didn't keep track of a few different things at different times. And, you know, GoodFriend's play was not flawless either, but it was much closer to flawless than GYYYYYPE's was, that's for sure. So, yeah. And now the Wraiths are going to go for the throat. They've cut the arteries, but now they're going to go for the heart and go into the main and just polish off the last few drones that GYYYYYYPE has on the map right now. And he's going in for one last desperate attack. You might as well. You got some units. Throw them on your opponent's wall and see if a miracle happens. But GG goes down, and GoodFriend is going to take game number 1. You can see in front of a massive crowd for the finals here. Not the most massive crowd I've ever seen, but just what a game. What a game. Again, I felt like GYYYYYYPE was in such command of the game for the whole thing. For the whole first half, I should say, and then just kind of fell apart. He had the Greater Spire morphing. He had a perfect defense for his 3 bases. He was even starting to get a 4th up. He had the ability to harass GoodFriend's main and his expansion. The Greater Spire was about to finish, and he was going to morph 1 billion Guardians and go for the kill. And in his moment of victory, GYYYYYYYYYPE just flew the Mulisks across enemy lines and just lost them all in just a terrible blunder, basically. And it was just threw the game away, essentially. And then I'm having a hard time finding that exact moment here, but then we have this other moment where the Guardians were morphing and they got caught. It was just downhill from there. And once the boulder started rolling down the hill, it was just pretty much GYYYYYYYPE couldn't get back into it. And GoodFriend also, I guess this is another moment too here. If we go back to this moment here where he tries to break this ramp. I wasn't sure about this. I think this was not the best play by GoodFriend. He goes in here and he has a decent advantage, but it was a little bit too late. GYYYYYYPE pulled his drones too late, but imagine this right now. Right now, that fire bat, what if he right-clicks the drones that are attacking his Marines with that fire bat? And he takes out 4, 5, 6 drones. That's, you know, a third of GYYYYYYPE's drones economy gone in a moment, potentially there. I don't know, it could have been another opportunity, but anyway, GYYYYYYPE loses 2 sunks, loses a muta, loses, I don't think he lost any drones there, actually. So, again, that was kind of the beginning of it. GYYYYYYPE, I think, had a bit of an advantage off that. He used that bit of an advantage to get that third base and really get rolling. And that was when it started to go south for GYYYYYYPE. In any case, I'll go ahead and end it there. Let's go ahead and get into game number 2 here, ladies and gentlemen. Is going to be coming up before too long. Again, I'm just going to be releasing these all as separate games, as their own videos, as I do with most of the series. Hope you guys are enjoying it. An epic final seems to be unfolding before us, ladies and gentlemen. This has already been an exciting series. It's already been interesting to see where the strengths and shortcomings of both of these players are coming into their interactions with each other, and how it's going to play out in the rest of the series is going to be interesting to see, because you know what? This game on both sides came down a lot to the mistakes that were made by each of them. And so it may be a matter of, like, you know, who's going to make less mistakes in the rest of the games and be able to actually, you know, take the series. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks very much for watching. GG. See you in game 2.